The past week has provided a great opportunity for the US FOMC to provide context on current developments and the outlook through a run of speeches, Chair Powell's testimony before Congress, and the release of the April meeting minutes. In Chair Powell's prepared remarks before the Senate committee, the diametrically opposed forces impacting the US were highlighted. On the one hand is the severity of the outbreak itself and the need to respond with force, with drastic economic consequences. On the other is the promise of recovery. The latter is being fueled by no less than 11 Federal Reserve stimulus programs, which to date have seen the balance sheet double to around $7 trillion on its way to $10 trillion. There is also $2 trillion in complementary fiscal support coming as well. Jointly, these policies are aimed at securing proper market functioning and credit availability, and in doing so, shoring up household incomes and sentiment. While Chair Powell has recently noted that you wouldn't want to bet against the American economy, this statement referred to the economy's capacity to grow over the medium to long term, uninhibited by the virus. While COVID-19 remains, demand will remain weak and the skew of risk heavily to the downside. As per the April meeting minutes, the risks before the US economy essentially revolve around three components of demand: consumption, investment, and exports. Consumption is presently being hit hard by restrictions on trade and travel and the historic deterioration in jobs and incomes. While state economies are beginning to open up, without a vaccine, social distancing will remain necessary for an extended period, hampering demand. Fear also has a greater chance of holding back household spending in the US and elsewhere. This is because their economy is being opened up while the new case count remains elevated. Some households will look to stay home as much as possible. Doubts over the strength of the economy going forward and household wealth will also curtail purchases of durable goods like cars and housing decisions. And over the long run, there is also the very real risk that being without work for an extended period, some workers' skills and knowledge will decay, reducing lifetime income and household spending. The second major risk for the US is business investment. This aspect of demand has been weak ever since the GFC, and COVID-19 will see it deteriorate further. As for consumption, there are two aspects to consider. First, weaker revenue, uncertainty over the outlook, and potentially the availability of credit will all weigh in the short to medium term. Then, over the longer run, changing spending patterns and persistent uncertainty over the strength of potential demand and secondary waves of the virus will further restrict the appetite for investment. In such circumstances, business is likely to situate new facilities in the lowest cost locations, near growth opportunities. This is much more likely to occur in Asia or other emerging markets than the US. The final major risk to consider is external demand. The shock that has come to the US energy sector as a result of the crisis is the most prominent currently. The weakness across emerging and developed markets and the elevated level of risk over the outlook will impact external demand for almost all US goods and services, from manufactured goods to services such as tourism and education. As made clear by the committee at the April meeting, the key to scaling the effect of this crisis on the US is the persistence and breadth of the virus's spread. The US is banking on social distancing over lockdowns and is betting heavily on a vaccine or other effective treatment being found. In such circumstances, there is a wide variety of possible outcomes. Most probable is a slow, unusually weak recovery. We'll see you next week.